Good day, lords and ladies, and welcome back to Age of Fear, the Undead King. Sorry that I haven't been posting these as of recently. I was doing stuff with the DLC for Battle Brothers, so here we go. Now, I'm going to give you a heads up, this video is a bit of a mess, not because of the game itself, but just I hit a snag. There's a particularly nasty snag coming up, and I'm going to explain it to you now. Basically, with Age of Fear's Gold, there is a mechanic in it which basically gives you random battles, and on the hard difficulty settings, it's important for you to fight these random battles.
Try to stop me.
What did we get? Elixir of Swiftness. Yeah, it's important for you to fight these random battles because they give you additional XP, which is very important.
Yes, my king. Awaiting command.
Now, I have been saying I have not been fighting them because I have found them to be excessively overpowered. Right, and I've posted a Brute's Brew, some money, meteor armor, which is very nice.
Saddle my horse.
Right,
command.
that's pretty much everything. But yeah, basically, I'll explain it better after the cutscene in a second and let you hear the story develop. But there is a snag that I have come into contact with this difficulty and the random battles, which you sort of need to fight.
The battle started at first light, with the sound of a war horn reverberating from the hills to the walls of the citadel. The greenskins quickly prepared their lines, but then the orcs were hit by a shower of arrows from the archers in the forest. They fell like drops of water, blood and bodies splashing against the ground. Next, the heavy cavalry hit the siege lines. Their impact drove them deeply into the horde. The infantry quickly followed, using the opening to split the horde in two. This was the breaking point of the battle. Still, there were many creatures left to kill, and the fight was not yet over. Sir Edward did not receive the privilege of riding with the main force. He was part of the left wing, charged with protecting the flank of the king's army. The toughest greenskin units were focused in the center, but that didn't mean the flanks were easy to defend. Slowly, Edward and the other men downed enemy after enemy and cut through the greenskins' groups. Sir Edward was nearing the grey rock walls when he felt a sudden searing pain. As he fell from his horse, he looked down to see a goblin's arrow protruding from his chest. Then
that's really good
darkness.
Anyway, so there we go. I'll basically explain what the issue I have is as we go about some of the more mundane stuff and collecting and buying and upgrading and various bits and pieces. The issue that we have is that on the harder difficulties you need the extra experience from the random missions to basically upgrade your party. Meteor armor is really nice for our character, by the way, because it reduces all damage that he takes from one source to 1. So basically, if someone hits you for 4 damage, it gets reduced to 1 damage, which is very nice, and it's one of my preferred armors in the game, even if it does slow you down. But yeah, the issue that I'm having is this. I have hit an impasse of sorts, which is that there's been a difficulty spike in the main storyline. In this episode, you will see it. And as a result, I am not confident that I can proceed in some ways. Partly it's my fault. If I'd been more less frugal, because I wanted to basically get enough money to upgrade the keep, because it's really useful. But if I'd been less frugal and bought a couple of more basically splurged out and bought some better units, I know how I can fix it. I lost a battle which if I had some different units there I probably would have won. But yeah, the battle wouldn't have been so hard if I'd been able to do what my plan had been from my previous experience playing this is do one story mission, then do one random battle in between each story mission, so you get enough XP to have a nice well of XP for your troops, and that they're all relatively good levels. Unfortunately, I am not going to lie, I haven't been able to do that. I found the random missions, like after the first one that I fought, you saw me fight at the beginning, which was against those fungoid people. They became nigh on impossible to do. It became stupid. Like it became, the battles were like nigh on impossible for us to win, and they were against units. Like you'd be fighting like 5 units that had, like 8 HP each, and you had units that had like 2 HP. I mean, like I fought a battle. Like my second battle I tried to fight in the random battles was that there were 4 enemy units, and each unit pretty much had the sum total HP of my entire party, if I didn't include the hero. And they all had like high level healing potions, and a couple of them had like multi-attacks. And I just sort of stood there going like, yeah, I could win this, but most of my party's going to get killed in the meantime doing it. And it wasn't worth it in my mind. It's not worth losing units like that, especially ones you're trying to cultivate. So I didn't do it, and now I'm hitting the issue that I don't think I can progress further in the story, or at least the side story, without doing them. And I'm not sure at this difficulty it is possible without losing most of your army. It is tricky. Oh, you got a comet. Especially is dangerous indeed. It is tricky. I don't know what to do about it. Because like I've looked at these random battles, like I've checked out several of them, and there's like, unless you're willing to lose nearly all of your pawns, like all of your base units, and only for your hero to live, there isn't a lot of ways that you can win it. Because the enemies are just too high level. So I don't know. I really don't know. I do think the random battles need to be toned down. I had issues with them in the previous, like Age of Fear 3, where I did a random battle and it was just all ballisticas and paladins.
Edward awoke abruptly one moment, neither seeing nor feeling a thing, and the next, all of his senses focusing their awareness on the excruciating pain. He slowly opened his eyes and saw an old man sitting on a wooden chair. His first thought was shock that he was still alive. He asked the man, "What happened? Where am I?" "Be calm, young knight. Your battle is over for now." "How do I still live? I saw the arrow in my chest." "You have been revived by Brother Mark from Grey Rock's monastery. I've been watching over you." "What do you mean, revived? Who are you? I fell from my horse, and I don't remember anything afterward." "I am Brother Oliver. You, my good sir, have been dead. Brother Mark brought you back from the dead." "Who is this Brother Mark?" "Calm down. He has others to attend to as well. Is there anything you need right now?" Edward tried to calm himself and realized that he had a raspy, dry throat. "Just water, please." Brother Oliver explained that the king's army had emerged victorious. The panicked horde had escaped from the battlefield, and the citadel's garrison was able to open the gates to help the army crush the remaining greenskins. Unfortunately, Brother Oliver was unable to shed any light on the issues that most concerned Edward, such as where his body was found and what exactly reviving him entailed. He learned that his men were waiting in town for his return. After an hour, Sir Edward was able to move his body. Brother Oliver assisted him out of the bed and out into the fresh air. The day was beautiful and sunny, and the north winds had dispersed the noxious smoke from the greenskins' fires and plundering. From the small monastery inside Grey Rock's walls, Edward could see the whole city spread out before him. The resurrection proved to be a shock both mentally and physically. It took Edward several days to regain his strength. As he started to feel better, he began to gather his men and prepare to leave the monastery. Brother Oliver approached Edward as he was making his preparations.
"Good morning, Sir Edward. I see you are about to depart from our monastery and follow King William to Netrico."
"Yes, brother. I heard that the war is not yet over, and the king is pursuing the remnants of the horde. I feel it is my duty as a knight to join the cause."
"You are right, my friend. The brothers and I were discussing the situation. We heard tales of foul magic being involved, and we think it would be best if we joined our king as well."
"The tales are all too true. I warmly welcome you and the other brothers in the name of King William."
"I wish that I could personally go, but I am too old and frail. Nevertheless, some of the younger brothers will join you. The monastery shall also provide some supplies for your men."
"I give you my personal gratitude. Your help will be invaluable in our travels."
"Sir Edward, before you leave the city, check the taverns. There may be some of your soldiers still in the city, and others there interested in joining you. I have a farewell gift for you. Wear it always. It may save your life."
"Thank you for everything, Brother Oliver. You have my eternal gratitude, and in the future, should you or your monastery need anything, just but ask and it shall be yours."
"God wanted us to save you for greater deeds. We were merely the tools he chose to help you on your way."
Right, so we've got the Holy Pendant, which we already have, and a bunch of new stuff pops in. This is the Mage, the new party member. Maybe if I have him, it will make the game a bit more balanced. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm going to pick up a fight. It's supposed to be a skirmish, so we won't have our full forces, but that's mean there'll be less enemies as well. And you just compare our force layout in that battle to what the game has calculated and is chucking against us. I know we're supposed to be playing on hard mode, but there's a difference between it being hard and it being impossible. Because, I don't know, unless they expect us to do the whole just keep on hiring tons of units, and like the ones that survive and get promoted, like basically like XCOM style, like you literally like you go for like 20 people, and by the end of it you've got 5 that are really good, but you've got like 15 corpses. Because I think that would be probably like the only way that you would be able to do it. I don't know. I really don't know. But you can see for yourself in a minute, and you can judge from what I mean. The thing is that the random battles mechanic is now tied in to gold, so you actually you don't have to do it, but on the harder difficulty settings you sort of do to get enough experience that your units can stand toe to toe with the more enhanced enemy units who are using better tactics. But like, see, as I say here, we're going to try and choose a battle to fight. We don't want to do a brawl. We probably want to skirmish. Playing melee. Skirmish, yeah, let's do this one here. I think this is the one that we want to do. All the rest are brawls, so there'll be more units. Let's do a skirmish. And I'll show you what I mean by like the leveling of the fight. See, here's our forces. Here are the enemies. And as you can see, they are all high-level enemies. Most of them have like nearly triple the amount of HP of our own units, have multi-attacks, high-grade potions. So there's no point us actually fighting it. That's why I basically went back to here. Because if we'd fought that battle, we would have lost everybody, and that would be the core of our army dead. Because I'm pretty sure that units that die in random battles stay dead, and it would have been game over for us. There wouldn't be any point at this point continuing with a brand new party, because we wouldn't have been able to do the encounters.
Sir Edward bade the brothers goodbye and led his troops out of Greyrock. They left when the sun was high in the sky, and they felt refreshed by the clean air. The road ahead was clear, so Sir Edward and his party were able to travel at a brisk pace. Something began to change as they got further away from Greyrock. He couldn't put his finger on it, but something just didn't feel right. The heavy, dark presence that he'd felt at Westland began to envelop him once more. He called the column to a halt, which only seemed to increase the unease his men were feeling.
Be on your guard. There is something.
Edward never had a chance to finish his sentence. The earth before him exploded as a grotesque humanoid creature rose from the dirt. From the corner of his eyes, he saw more creatures bursting forth from the ground. Sir Edward knew what he was about to face, as did those of his men who had survived the patrol to Westland. He rapidly unsheathed his sword as he called to his men, "Undead, defend yourselves!"
See, I suppose I could have won the fight differently here. I'm going to give you fair warning, I lose this fight, but I'm going to explain how I lose it so you get a better understanding. I should have probably bought 3 Blade Masters. That's the first thing. I should have probably bought 3 Blade Masters, or at least upgraded my own units to Blade Masters earlier for the multi-attacks. Because you literally just need multi-attacks at this stage. The enemies have a lot more hit points than you, so having units that only have one attack per turn doesn't really cut it anymore. So I should have probably bought at least 3 Blade Masters. And to be honest, if I'd been doing the random battles like I'd planned each, I would have probably had 4 random battles or 5 random battles under my belt by this stage, which meant that I would have probably had a lot more elite units and a lot more bad Blade Masters in my army. But as it stands, my army's relatively under-leveled. I'm not going to lie about it. I've still got units that are base units. I mean, they're elite units, but they're still base units, which is a troublesome thing, especially on harder difficulty settings. Here we meet again, Pathetic Knight, roars Sir Nevon. Well, sir, my greetings to you too. Sir Edward, talkative as ever, it'd be nice to have a conversation just before I cut your throat. I've noticed you expanded your social circle, Sir Nevon. Greenskin's not stinky enough, nothing better than a half-rotten corpse, huh? You talk too much, boy. This time you will die. Here I was hoping we'd sort out this boy business already. Yeah, so let's have a look at who we're fighting. We've got 2 necromancers. We've got Sir Nevon, who's a Black Knight, which is an elite enemy unit, who are basically a higher level unit. And we've got secret units here, judging from the fact that we can attack them even though they're hidden. I think that's a bug, to be honest. I don't know if we should be able to do that, but we can trigger it anyway. And let's see what we're facing. We are facing an absolute metric ton of zombies. Yep, they're still coming, folks. This isn't like you're delusion. There's literally that many units. And as you can see, they have us massively outnumbered and massively out-healthed, because each zombie's got about 5 hit points. And you can see what my first mistake was. My first mistake is I don't have enough Battle Masters, because Battle Masters have 2 attacks, which would have helped us cut down the number of undead. My second problem is my units are not high enough level. I needed to have, in this battle, I need to have stuff like Mass Bless, which is a higher level ability than the Priest has, because it allows you to get a better, increased hit chance against undead or demonic fiends. I needed to have, with my particular setup, I judged that my only way of winning this is to try and go after the necromancer. Try and kill the necromancers as quickly as possible, so they can't just keep bringing the zombies back to life, because that's what happens in this particular battle in my experience, is that the zombies will constantly bring the zombies back. Well, the necromancers bring the zombies back to life, and it becomes very challenging to deal with it all. So, I suppose what we could have done, if I was being particularly we could have broken out of the encirclement. That's something we could have done. We could have literally run the entire party north to try and kill the other necromancer as quickly as possible. That's something we could have done.
You have the sword. War is coming.
Necromancer screams. I didn't do that. I tempted to basically buckle, to dig in and try and hold off until my hero was finished fighting, killing the necromancers. It doesn't work particularly well. I should have probably run away because my units were nowhere high enough level, which is a shame.
Welcome.
I mean, I try my best, to be honest, but yeah, I needed Mass Bless. I needed Mass Bless because it gives you an increased hit chance against Undead and Demonic. I needed to have more Battle Masters just because they're more useful. Like, for example, I could have had like 2 Battle Masters, and then you would have probably much killed a zombie. Like, pretty much, if they hit every attack, would have pretty much killed a zombie a turn, which would have been useful. But as you just see now, I really do not have anywhere enough units. I don't have enough units. It's not the amount of units, it's the amount of experience my units have, I should say, to be honest. People are getting injured. My morale is pretty much to the floor at this point. It's not great, and to be honest, I could run away. I should have probably run away. In this instance, turtling up was my mistake. I should have tried to break north and flee because I have more movement than the undead. I'm just trying to get away from the just trying to get away from that drain life ability that necromancers have.
This will be a glorious day.
Get here.
You have my sword. To victory.
Kill the necromancer. Morale comes back up. But yeah, I mean, it's not a great situation. And I'm just trying to think of ways that I can get out of it. I can beat the situation. I don't know if I can. I might just have to spend most of the money that I had intended to use on.
Yes.
And as you can see here, this is one of the glitches puts in. I heal him. He doesn't get healed though, which is annoying because that's now a cooldown ability. So that's a completely wasted ability usage. So I run over here to try and get him to take the healing potion. He takes the healing potion. He doesn't get healed, which is annoying. And this is a bug. I've tested it. It's a bug. He should be able to be healed. So, yeah. As a result of me doing that, trying to heal my bloke, I lose him. That guy dies. It's...
Here's my message.
To be honest, I don't know. I might need to drop... I'm just trying to... The problem is I'm sort of sitting here thinking with my knowledge of the game how I can get out of this situation. And my default reaction would be drop one of the range units, probably the weaker ranger. See, he gets killed. Drop the weaker ranger unit. Replace him with either another battle master or another knight. And just buy an absolute ton of battle masters. Replace all of my royal guardsmen with battle masters. And as soon as the battle starts, we just go super aggressive. We go super aggressive. We basically just charge upfield towards where the necromancers and the Black Knight are. Kill them as quickly as possible because the zombies are relatively slow and they can't keep up. And just attempt to wipe them out before the main bulk of their army gets here. That's the only way I can think of right now that we can win this battle. I try and go here so we can't get Black Knight can't get a charge off, and I can attack the other necromancer. But by this point, I've come to the conclusion that this fight, as I currently am, is pretty much unwinnable. Well, or even if I would win it, I'd lose most of my army doing it. So I decide just throw in the towel at this point. I'd have to do like a major rejigging of my forces. I'd have to take out. I mean, if I was being super honest, I would probably take out most, like either completely remove all my archers from this particular engagement and just have battle masters. Just have battle masters and a couple of clerics for healing, and maybe another knight, and literally just go ham upfield and just kill the necromancer and the Black Knight, because that's the only way I think I can win this battle at my current level. I'm not happy with it, but I don't think there's much I can do to counter the fact that I've sort of hit the wall of XP. That army hasn't got enough XP to be useful anymore. Which is partly the fact that the random battles, in my honest opinion, need to be severely tweaked. They are too difficult. They are severely too difficult. I don't know if you get your lost units back at the end of a random battle, but I was not willing to put my army into that meat grinder of that skirmish, because I would lose a lot of people. I would lose like half my army at least to those opponents. I mean, maybe if I had the wizard, and the wizard was relatively high level and had multiple like maybe area of attack ability or something, but yeah, it's not great. Till next time, folks. Bye.